Okay, we're starting. So, Tyler,
Yes.
you coming up here? Talk about GDC?
Am I?
Yeah, that's the point of the meeting. We're supposed to talk about those of us who went to the Game Developers Conference 2 weeks ago in San Francisco. Yeah, we're gonna basically share stories of what happened and how cool it was.
Sweet. All right. So is the camera on?
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, I went to GDC like 2 weeks ago, and I was with the CA program. That's the Conference Associates. They're like the volunteers that help like set stuff up. They guard the doors and stuff, and it was pretty awesome. I mean, by pretty awesome, I mean it was freaking amazing. Basically, I made a whole bunch of networking. I made a large network of people. I met a whole bunch of awesome people. Basically, everyone who's a CA is either working in the industry or is trying to work in the industry, so it's a great place to be. I really recommend that everyone who wants to work in games apply to the CA program. I can't stress that enough. Like, I had lunch with Will Wright, Sid Meier, and Kim West in one day. For those of you who don't know, Will Wright was the designer for The Sims and SimCity and stuff, and then Spore, right? And then Sid Meier was the lead designer and other things for Civilization, Pirates, things like that. And Kim West was the lead designer for Portal. So, be a CA, seriously. Yeah, there was a lot of awesome stuff there. There was like the whole Expo 4 where all the companies and stuff would come and they advertise their products. You can go through and look at things that what we talked about a little bit before we got the camera working. There's a lot of advanced technology there. There's a lot of games that are getting shown off. And then there's also a career pavilion, which is, and this year it was a little separate from the expo, and that's where all the companies go, basically recruiting. So you go there, you set up with, you go there with your resume, with your business cards, and talk to people. Like I talked to Blizzard a couple times.
A couple times?
Yeah. Well, they liked me, so I went back and I was like, hey, what's up, dude? Like the roommates I had, because I was in the CA program, I opted into the CA housing where they assign you roommates, and that way you have like a much reduced cost for hotels and stuff. Like I ended up paying like $50 a night in San Francisco, which is pretty great since it's normally like 200 something. So good idea to do that. And also if you're a CA, you get a free all access pass, which is $2,000 right there, which is nice. So yeah, the numbers they gave me is I had to end up working about 20 hours over the course of the week, and with the benefits they gave me, the pay ended up being something like $100 an hour worth of pay, because
Except it wasn't in cash, it was in benefits.
Yeah, it was in benefits, but
yeah.
Still, I mean, plus the networking opportunity is which is
Have you
priceless.
followed up with any of your contacts?
Yeah, I'm talking to a lot of people on email. I know some people on Facebook and stuff. We have our own forums and websites. So.
Forums?
Yeah.
The CA forums?
Yeah.
Okay.
Other stuff. It's just a lot of fun. Just being with the CAs is a lot of fun because like I'd stay up till like 2 a.m. playing Witch Hunt, which is awesome. We had like a League of Legends tournament, which was sponsored by Riot, and it was just for the CAs to participate in. The team that won got some prizes and stuff. They got some League of Legends stuff, and then they also got to play off against the Riot staff and kick their asses, basically. But what else we do? We played like Super Mario, Smash Brothers a lot. Played some like Street Fighter games. Other than that, like the work I had to do as a CA was not that difficult. I mean, you have to man the information booth, like here's some pamphlets, yay, be happy. Being happy was actually important, but it wasn't that hard. You had to like guard the rooms, make sure you're scanning people who have appropriate badges to come in, hand out evals, blah. excellent. That's pretty much all of my duties as a CA. They gave me lunch, which apparently was $40 a day, but that was kind of a joke. Yeah, well, the food itself was definitely not worth $40. Most of that cost was in like catering.
Yeah,
so.
just getting all that food into the conference
Yeah.
and organizing the people to distribute it.
Yep. What's up? You got a question?
So wait, $40 a day for lunch itself, or?
Yeah, just for lunch.
For lunch.
They provide you lunch, and they also provided CA's breakfast if you got in line early enough. So there was like a limited supply of breakfast because they didn't advertise that they offered you breakfast. It's just something they did that was nice. So it's not like they were cheating me out of breakfast when they said they'd give it to me. No, they didn't say that.
So any advice to getting into the CA program?
Really talk about what you have to offer the program. Talk about being like a service-oriented person. You want to talk about like how it's not just about you. You're not going to do this just for your own benefits. You want to be there to like help out. You want to be there to meet people and things like that. It's not just, I'm an amazing programmer, you should let me be a CA. They don't care about that. The people who are choosing CAs are looking for volunteers to man the conference. They're not looking for game developers per se, but that stuff can help you in your essay. When I wrote my essay, I talked about different qualities I have as a game developer and how that relates to the conference and how I could help. But yeah, just know what you're trying to get, who you're talking to. They're not interested in your programming skills necessarily. They're not interested in how many games you've made. They're interested in your attitude, whether you're a good person, how you're going to fit in with the rest of the CAs. So.
That's good advice. Okay. So, other Tyler, you want to come up?
Sure, why not? I have the shirt on too. If you guys have one of these awesome shirts. I don't know what you guys already said. Is there anything you want me to cover in particular?
I haven't even talked yet.
Okay.
It was just him talking about his CA experiences.
Okay.
So, yeah, you had what pass did you buy?
I had the all access.
All access. Man, I was the only one without all access.
Sorry.
And I had the dumb Expo Pass, which only lasted for Wednesday and Friday. And I only, there were like thousands of talks. I only got access to like 6 dummy talks.
Yeah.
They weren't, but I didn't even spend much of my time with the talks. I spent most of my time in the Career Pavilion and the Expo. Specifically, the Expo is the area where all the businesses are, but I spent a lot of time in the IGF Pavilion at the Expo, talking to all the people who made the IGF this year, and playing their games and talking to them about their games. It was a lot of fun. It was great networking also.
Yeah, if I have a scholarship, so it wasn't a big deal to buy the all access pass. But honestly, the most valuable stuff I got from the entire conference was really from the expo, meeting people, talking to people, getting to know people, getting cards, that kind of thing. That was really much more important than the rest of it, at least for where I am right now in my career and where we all are in our careers, I guess. The talks were awesome, and I went to a couple of tutorials about being a producer and Scrum and Agile production, which were incredible. But I mean,
What's Scrum?
Scrum is a development method where it's an Agile production method. So it's based upon a lot of iterations as opposed to an overarching development scheme. So you don't start out with
basically iterative development as opposed to waterfall.
So you have a bunch of games essentially that you make and you build on, and if you're familiar with Minecraft, that's how they do it. So when they started out with their first game, it was super rough, but it was completely playable. And then they built onto it and reiterated it and optimized it and so on and so forth. So it's essentially like that. Scrum has some more things you meet 15 minutes every day about what everyone on the team is doing, and you sort of organize it a little bit differently, and there's some rules and stuff. But it's at its base of an agile development method.
It's kind of like how when I was explaining how I structured my workflow while working on my Flash game during the break, I would write a progress report at the end of the day, which really gets you thinking about all of the work that you've done, and it also gets you planning for the next day, what work you're gonna do next. And just having a daily meeting where the whole team shares what they've been working on and what they're gonna do next, and also any problems that they're facing, maybe the other team members could help. It's just a great way to, I guess, get everyone thinking about production and not just having someone telling them what to do each day.
It's also super cool because you don't end up pouring so many hours into like this completely like polished game and then realize that the basic game mechanic you built it all on sucks. You have to like go back and redo all of that. The idea is that if you have a bunch of smaller iterations, you're able to see where you're going and change your direction a lot more easily without investing as much time and effort. So you're more agile. But yeah, so those were really fun, and I went to a couple of other talks. It was sort of weird because there were some really great talks, and then there were also some really great people talking. So it was kind of like, do I go see Sid Meier talk, or do I go actually do a talk that would be really valuable to what I want to do? So that was kind of interesting. But honestly, like I said, I think the Expo Pass is really, because how much was the Expo Pass?
200.
I mean, it's a lot of money with
expensive.
flight and hotel, but just the people you get to know and the sense, I don't know, the sense I got for the industry as a whole and what it really means to go into it was invaluable.
Yeah, we ended up sharing a room, so that we were able to split the hotel costs. And the hotel that we stayed at was right next to a really great place for breakfast. They had,
It was.
had good discounts, and like they give you tons of food for like $7. It was awesome.
But
What else was I gonna say? Oh yeah, the student pass. How much is the student pass? Like
$75.
$75. It only gives you access for Friday, and we mentioned this a lot of times already. That last year 2 of our members went with the student pass, and they said it was basically not worth it at all because it was so crowded there, and you only have access to the career pavilion. I think. Is that true?
there was someone at a talk I went to.
They might give
who
you
had
access to the
student pass.
expo.
They have, yeah, I think they have. I don't
Did
know.
that person break in?
I have no idea how I got there.
I actually tried to break into some talks, see if I could get away with it, but it's heavily guarded. Heavily guarded by CAs.
We do our jobs well.
Yeah,
Tell us about a sweet game you guys saw.
sweet games.
It's GDC.
There are so many.
Okay, on the last day, I went to the experimental game session, which was awesome. And and there were a lot of really cool, like, more experimental games that were, more theoretical and all that. But there was this one where where the basic mechanic is that you scale things up and down with essentially like a portal-like gun. I mean, it's sort of, you have a gun that doesn't shoot things, it scales things up and down. And there's like this conservation of mass, so you have to shrink things down to scale things up. And the basic mechanic seems kind of simple, but the way he implemented in the level design was incredible. Like, there were these 2 buttons, but we only had 1 rock to press them. So you had to get scale from everything around it to like increase the size of the rock to cover both of the buttons. And there was this other one where there was this castle and the walls were too high, so you couldn't really get up into it. But if you shrunk it down small enough, you could jump inside of it and then scale it back up again to be inside the walls. And there was one where,
what was it called?
I have no idea. I haven't been able to find
No
it.
idea.
It was like
I'm
scale
like about to
or
write
something.
it down, and you don't even have.
It was. I thought they would have it, but it was like scale something. And whenever I
Scale
search
something.
scale in GDC, it never shows up. But it'll probably be big
Yeah,
soon.
maybe when the vault comes out.
Yeah, that would be a good idea.
What's the vault?
The GDC vault. It has video recordings of all the talks that they gave.
Is it free?
If you paid for a pass, I think you have access to it. I'm not sure.
I think it is.
Or
There's some free things.
I'm scared that I'm kind of hoping to get access from GDC Vault because I paid the Expo Pass, but I'm kind of scared that I'll only have access to the 6 dummy talks that they had.
What do you mean dummy talk?
It's like they weren't even in a room.
They were
It was
poster
just-
sessions,
Yeah,
right?
poster sessions and people talking about the posters. Like say those academic posters that they put out.
Oh.
Like the information about what they're thinking about. And then they basically, the guy who's working on it, they basically stand there and talk about it. And there's actually quite a lot of people that attend those. And most of them end up standing up because they run out of seats. But it's in a big area, so there's plenty of room to stand around. It's not like the other talks that are like in auditoriums and theaters. They were okay, but then I realized, wait, this is gonna be on GDC Volt. I might as well spend my time doing other stuff, like networking or playing games.
It was really just cool being there, though. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, if you have the opportunity at all, if you can, I don't know.
On
apply for
Wednesday,
small
we
scholarships.
went to the Independent Games Festival Awards and the Game Developers Choice Awards.
We saw Todd Howard from a distance. It was really cool.
Yeah.
But was it really easy to talk to people or?
So easy.
Yeah.
I was really surprised how easy it was because I mean you're all like there for the same thing and
Why were you there?
for GDC
Oh,
like
wow.
you're on, so even when you're on the plane or like when you're outside like when you're just walking around you're like, oh hey, I see like they have a bag or they have their name tag on or whatever and you're like, oh, you're going to GDC too, what do you do, who do you work for, and then you start like talking to them. It's awesome. I got so many cards and met so many incredible people.
I actually brought.
Who's your daddy?
I think it's actually fit in my backpack.
And everyone was like amazingly
Yeah.
supportive and wonderful. They're like, here, just call me if you want any help. I know some people that just I couldn't believe how friendly everyone was. I don't know why I was surprised, but it's awesome.
So here's my pass. I have it comes with a little chain that you wear around your neck. It's really funny because it's basically a card, and on the back it says, please treat this like like it was cash or your favorite classic game cartridge. This is non-refundable, blah blah. Yeah, depending on which pass you have, this is a different color. I got the Expo Pass, so it was see-through. Which one was yellow? Was that
That was the summits and tutorials.
Summits and Tutorials? Black was all access.
Yeah.
Red was if you were an exhibitor, which means you had something to show at the conference or a talk to give. It doesn't actually give you access to any of the talks. I heard some exhibitors complaining about that.
Oh, I bet. 'Cause they're like,
Yeah.
Yeah, so did I.
I heard the people from BlackBerry complaining about that.
Oh, speaking of BlackBerry, I got a free playbook while I was there too. That was cool.
You actually
Wait,
got
what?
it? How did you
I
get
did.
it?
I went to a talk at 11 and
I went
Did they
to.
give playbooks to everyone at the top?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's funny because they keep it like really on the down low, like no, like, they don't mention it to anyone. And I was sort of standing there, and they kind of handed you a voucher. I was like, "What is this?" So I texted my friend, and she.
Yeah, I went to the talk that they gave after that. It was like at 1, and they were running out of them, so they decided we're only going to give them to developers, like programmers. So you have to take a little programming test and prove to us that you know how to program and that that you are a developer, and then we'll give it to you. And I was in line getting ready to take the little slip or whatever it was, and the guy in front of me took the last one. So I didn't get it. It was way too crowded. There were so many people at that time. Also, my pass looks really cool because when you sign up, they ask you for your title and company, and I was able to put my internship with Internet Riverman Media LLC. It looked really great, better than having a empty space there. And like, oh, this guy's a nobody.
Just make something up.
Make up your own company.
Don't do that.
Don't
For LLC, write it down. You have a company.
If you put it on your business card and then they look you up and they see you've done nothing, that's kind of a bad. They'll not contact you. Yeah,
How about freelance?
freelance. I guess that could work.
I mean, you could put like what you are on there probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People are like 3D artists or whatever.
Yeah, but the company name is what stands out because it's like big text.
Although 3D artists I met had pretty big 3D artist text. But anyway, super incredible.
What was I gonna say? Something about. Oh yeah, you asked me any good games that I played. There were a lot of great games, of course. At the IGF place. I know one game that I really liked was called Snowfield. It's not really like a game, but it was so cool, I guess. You play as a soldier, and you're like in this barren wasteland. It's all snow everywhere, and there are dead bodies everywhere, and it's like the aftermath of a battle, and you're basically walking around trying to survive. And yeah, I don't want to. If I explain it anymore, I'll basically say explain the whole game because there's not much else to it. But I just really like the atmosphere that it created. There was also, yeah. Did you hear about someone posted a link to it on the Facebook group a few months ago? That documentary that some people were making about indie games. What was it called? Indie Games, the movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, a lot of the games that were in the documentary were at the IGF. And what was that one game? Was it Fez?
Yeah.
No.
I didn't even get to play it. It was that game was so crowded. And once when I was walking around, I was about to try it. There was like these people from GameSpot filming an interview with the guy or something. They had like their camera right on the TV. I'm like, that's really obnoxious. GameSpot was pretty all over the conference, like with their live stream. It was kind of annoying. Like I have when we went to the awards show, they gave us the program of the show. Is it here? Yeah, here it is. Yeah, here's the program, and you can basically look up all of the nominees and get excited to see the winners. But it was so dark, you didn't even see anything. But on the back of the program was an ad for GameSpot.
I think they sponsored a lot of it.
Yeah, it did. And so did Microsoft. Like the first whole page is Microsoft endorsing the IGF people.
A lot of companies. It was actually kind of cool because I mean there are all the big companies that you know as well, but there are also a lot of smaller companies that I've never heard of before. And like when you can actually put a name to a face and like a game, it really gives you a better sense of the industry as a whole and what's going on, who's there, who might be big players. I mean, it's really neat to really get to see all these people.
Yeah. There was one point in the awards show where they gave this award. It was the ambassador award. They gave it to the people who defended the EMA at the Supreme Court case of California's law against selling violent games to minors, and that was really cool because when the lawyers went up to accept the award, everyone stood up and gave them a standing ovation. It was really cool. Yeah, and I actually posted the link to that on the Facebook group a few weeks ago. You could listen to the talk if you want, the hearing if you wanted to. I even posted an article that explained everything that was going on. It was interesting.
some stuff I forgot to mention. Like as a CA, like you'll get access to a lot of like exclusive things. Like for instance, I'm now part of the Diablo 3 beta and another beta that I can't talk about, but I signed a non-disclosure agreement. But
And you're on camera.
Huh? Can you say the company, or is that you too?
I don't know.
Non-disclosure.
But
And our.
yeah. But yeah, the Diablo 3 beta, which is pretty awesome. So yeah, be a CA, you get access to all sorts of exclusive stuff.
As a CA, can you recommend people?
I don't
Yes.
know. I probably can, but
Dylan knows.
You're gonna have a lot of friends now.
and you also like the
I found
CAs.
$100 bill on the floor. Do you might want it?
Is it yours?
It's like the CAs also are usually game developers, so a lot of times they'll be developing their own games, so you get to go and play test others' games that are being made at the time. So I did that a lot. You know, someone will show up with one of their like 2D side scroller games, and there was one guy who had like it wasn't really a beta, it was like an alpha version of some game where you fly around as a dragon and it's like aerial combat between dragons. It was pretty cool.
What was the like a platform that you found develop?
For the CAs, it's usually on PC.
No, I mean like we use GameMaker in our intro class kind of thing.
Usually C#.
So,
Or some kind of engine. So, yeah.
I don't know, there are a lot of people, a lot of different.
Yeah, I was just talking about the CAs. Like, around, like, in the game industry, I mean, it's hit and miss. It could be anything. You know, C# is popular, C++ is used a lot, you know, Unreal Engine, all these different things that you could use. It just depends on what you're making, really. So,
Did you go to GDC Tech?
I never actually went there. I pointed a lot of people there. I never went there myself.
I planned my schedule badly. I thought they would be open on Friday, but they were not. And I completely missed out on it. I didn't even know what it looked like. I never even went to that side of the conference, that building.
There wasn't much in that building, really, in South.
Unless you count the awards show.
Yeah,
at that part.
that was about it. There were like 2 talks in there for the entire week, but everything else was in North and West.
What else is there to say?
Is it actually worth it to be there on Friday?
I see. I didn't really think it was that bad. I mostly went to talks on Friday. I sort of avoided the career
They had a lot of
stuff.
career talks on Friday.
But I don't know. Even the career pavilion didn't seem that busy. At least later on in the day.
I avoided the career pavilion on Friday.
But
Actually, I spent so many hours in there during Wednesday that I never went back.
yeah, and maybe like
I went to every single company, even the ones that I didn't want to get a job with. Like Facebook was there, and I was bored, so I walked up to their thing.
yeah, they had no one at their booth. It was kind of sad.
Neither there was also these people with like they're making a lot of the
IGC, yeah. Well, I went over there, and everyone, all like
The
8 of
casino
them,
machines,
pounced
yeah.
on us. They're like, "Who are you? Here's a job. Go."
You're hired.
Yeah, so when we came.
They had a lot of space in there.
They
It was
did.
kind of weird.
They did. I don't know why they thought they were gonna, because no one wants to work for them.
Who was it?
It was like
casino
IGT, I think
company.
it's called. They make like casino games. They also make
Slot machines.
slot machines, like restaurant, arcade boxes and things like that, like golf games and stuff.
I guess if you're in the industry to make money, you would be attracted to them. In a way.
Yeah, or like once you can't get a job anywhere else, I guess sort of when you go.
I don't know. I would rather not work.
Yeah.
Wow.
make an indie studio.
Yes.
The casino games that they sell, not just them, but like casino games in general are ridiculous because
Yeah.
they get people to pay money and they do special deals for completely fake currency that they can't even withdraw for money. It's like retarded. But
What I don't like about it is that it's really easy to addict someone to it, and it's just a horrible business
No, it's evil.
model.
Anyway,
It's a little bit
GDC.
Yeah. So.
Are they, last year they were the main sponsors of the event or something like that? Like
Really?
they must have been because the amount of space they had.
They had a lot of space this
Yeah.
time too, but it wasn't. I mean, Sony and Blizzard had more.
And Activision.
Yeah,
Had a-
Activision had a lot.
Activision, when you walk into Career Pavilion, you see this mile-high thing that Activision will put up. Like, we're hiring. They publish. They're a huge company.
Because
Call of
Spyro,
Duty.
Guitar
Call of
Hero,
Duty. They're
Modern
big.
Warfare.
But if you go to the Blizzard people, they'll talk absolute crap about it.
Because they don't fully know.
That was one of my favorite days last year. Is I was just waiting in line to like get in there and and talk to them, which is whatever. And the person in front of me just started bad mouthing Activision, and the guy behind the counter was like, "Yeah, they're being so stupid. They keep releasing the exact same game every year with every single game. Anything that they release, it's the same thing." But there's like it's like I really hope somehow it's possible for us to separate things like that. And what's
EA
worse
does
is
the
they're
same
right
thing.
next to each other. It's like, this guy could have been saying it loud enough for the Activision people to hear.
Great way to burn bridges.
Yeah, don't do that.
Oh yeah, was there a Dope Bridges talk on Friday?
I never heard anything about that. Wow.
Oh, that's what I remember it as, because like a good 30 minutes of it was like every other sentence, don't burn bridges. Like he'll say something else, and then he'll say don't burn bridges, and then he'll say something else, and then there'll be an anecdote about someone who faked all their art, and was like, that's burning bridges, don't burn bridges, and then he put it back.
That's horrible.
Nice.
Yeah, if it's the industry is definitely small enough that if you tick someone off, you can probably like ruin your job in a lot of places. Like
Yeah.
someone's considering hiring a guy, and then the other person knows like, oh, I know that guy. He did a really jerkish thing with his last job application. Don't hire him.
The flip side of that is that by knowing like a relatively small amount of people, you're actually connected to quite a few more in a lot of different places.
Yeah.
I know you guys.
Another really cool.
Almost. Too.
Another really cool part about the conference is that you really get a sense for how global the industry is. There are people there from all over the world, from Europe, Asia, everywhere,
Yeah.
Australia.
Like as a CA, I ended up working a game that was, or working a session that was given in Japanese, and I had like a headset. It was something about like retro and social games in Japan, and like how Western companies can appeal to the Japanese market and things like that, which was interesting. But
Also,
That's
social
really
and mobile gaming are apparently the way of the future, and we can't avoid it, and it's going to be that way no matter what. End of story. Only because they're relatively inexpensive to make, so a lot of smaller developers, which is also I feel like where the industry is going, can actually compete. But it's inevitable, but it could be really fun depending on.
It will be fun.
Just
You will enjoy it.
Just fun build clubs. Yeah.
oh,
It's kind of like
It's all fun build clubs.
Yeah.
you should watch that talk that was posted on our Facebook group. Who posted it? Was it Taylor?
I think so. Just
Yeah.
recently, yeah.
Yeah, it was like today or yesterday. It was a guy gave a talk. Maybe you saw it. Some guy gave a talk. It was called "When Consoles Die, What Comes Next."
No, I didn't know that one.
Oh,
I was
well,
watching that.
Yeah, he posted a slideshow version of it on SlideShare,
Mhm.
and you could listen to him talking while watching the slides.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, it was a really good talk. He had a lot of data, and he made a lot of good points. Basically, he compared it to the transition from film in theaters to TV, and how theaters are still alive, but in terms of sales, they really are crushed by TV a lot. It really is going to be like that. Or the theory, or the hypothesis, you can't say for sure. You can never say for sure.
Right.
He also, the main comparison that he made was with the downfall of the arcade market. Even though the arcade usually had like better controllers, bigger screens, and just better social experience, none of that was enough to save the console, the arcade from consoles.
When did you think we'll replace consoles?
It's like
Mobile games.
like this.
Although I wonder what about PC games?
PCs we feel are already dying. A lot of people think that PCs are dying in comparison to consoles because it's financially unfeasible.
I would disagree here.
Well, I mean,
These- like this
this
has been said for so long that you need to understand they're just different. They're different.
they're very
actually
different, and I'll always PC game, but like
And-
financially speaking, the majority of people can't afford to shell out $1,500 for.
But
a PC.
what about games that work on most PCs as opposed to high-end PCs?
Yeah, because games that work on tablets work.
Technically, Minecraft works. You just can't see very far.
Like back in the 80s, that they thought the consoles would never come back because why would the consoles come back when everyone can play games on their computers? And then the NES came out, and then if you know your history, EA refused to publish for the NES because the consoles are dead and they'll never come back. And I almost think that there's a third tier. Arcades could come back and really kill themselves. They were not killed by consoles. They killed themselves because they thought consoles are going to kill us. We need to differentiate ourselves. And so they differentiated themselves and they made these really weird games with really specialized controllers. And then they killed themselves. And then the consoles, everyone wants the consoles. Like,
It's also funny how the arcade used to be what drove technological innovation in the industry, and now they're like really outdated. It's kind of you go to an arcade and you feel like you're surrounded by sub-tier
There's some cool
entertainment.
stuff, there's some new stuff still, and it's really exciting.
Yeah.
It's like, it feels cutting edge when it's like new actually. And they have like the weirdest controls and like gigantic screens, and it's like novel.
There was actually at the experimental game session, there was a game that the guy showed off that's meant to be played on like a movie screen with like 100 people,
Okay.
and you take like a laser. Everyone like 100 people have laser pointers, and it detects where the laser pointers are, and so like you sort of move these abstract ships through space and like harvest things, and like you have to like cooperate because you all have to be on the spots at the same time.
Cooperation between 100 people.
Yeah, it really didn't work out very well, but it like skipped through a couple because they were going so slowly. But
Especially if they're game developers.
Oh, yeah.
They kind of want
What
to
was
break the
the-
game.
For the, like, when we're out on the game night, there's always there's just like a indie game contest basically, and a whole bunch of all the games that were nominated for the indie game contest are playable on the show floor, but I mean, usually there's a crowd for like a few of them.
The IGF?
What?
Is that what you're talking about? The contest?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was just wondering what the cool indie games were there.
the way won a bunch of stuff. I didn't actually play.
Yeah, I love that game. It was so cool.
Which game?
Way?
Yeah.
I think it was just called Way, not The Way.
Was it?
It was a game. It's a game about communication through the language barrier. Basically, it's an online game. You're forced to play cooperatively with another player, but you have no means to communicate with them, except through little hand gestures and moving your guy around. And so you can't talk to them, you can't chat with them, but you have to solve these weird puzzles together. And I think what you can do, you can point, like you can point with one hand or you can point with two hands. And so what a lot of times what happens is that people end up waving. You can also put like facial expressions, like you're happy, you're sad, or you like face palm, or yeah.
You know how it's like posting about that game
Journey. Yeah.
A big part of it is what it's amazing. The first time I saw another player, I was confused. I was like, is this another AI? He was red, he looked exactly like me. And I was like, okay, so is he gonna follow me? And then when he started acting like a human, I was like, is this another player? Because they had me play online for some reason. And then I figured out that circle, that's the only way we can communicate is just doing like, boop. That's it. That's all we can say. But like we can use it to like say follow me or like, and you don't have to cooperate. You can keep going without them. But like,
Yeah.
it was really fun because I don't know if this is a male, a female, transvestite. I don't care. It doesn't matter because it's just a player and they'll help you or they won't. And like
Yeah, and the really cool thing about Way is that you end up solving all these puzzles together, and then when you get to the end, like every time you solve most of the game you're separated from the other player. You can view them from like a separate part of the screen, but you're never actually interacting with them. And then at the end, you actually finally meet up with the other player, and when that happens, what usually happens is that both of the players start congratulating each other by waving their hand and jumping around.
And they're
Because that's the only way to talk.
they're like, hey.
Yeah. And you realize that you beat the game and you start going up this elevator together, and while you're going up the elevator, there's nothing but credits on the side.
Oh,
And
cool.
you're just hopping around on top of each other, having fun. And then when you get to the top, your mouse is what you use to point and wave your hands around. Your mouse turns into a little pen, and there's a wall that you can start writing on. And it's actually a world map, so you can actually point to a part of the world that you're from.
Oh, wow, that's amazing.
Or you can write messages or draw
I
pictures.
tried writing messages in Journey in the snow, but it didn't. They didn't stop enough to pay attention. I played that game like 5 times now.
Yeah, there was that game, Dear Esther.
Yeah, I got to play that.
I've never played that, but it looks awesome.
Supposedly it's like very, very
Experimental.
linear. It's what?
It's the experiment. Like
Yeah.
it's debatable whether it's a game.
Sort of, it's very much like a point-and-click adventure. Very like a sort of what are they called? Like interactive.
Just an interactive
movies?
experience.
people
Not really a movie.
I know they got nominated for a bunch of stuff, and they had like their own talk during the day. So.
But yeah, it looked really cool.
Yeah, it's really beautiful.
And it had great audio.
Mhm. I think for IGF they actually won.
And right
probably
next
both
to
of
them,
those.
like two games away from them was another game. What was it called? Proteus.
Mm-hmm. That was cool.
It reminded me a lot of the Esther, except without any of the voiceover.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
No, Proteus is the one with the 16-bit.
Yeah.
Okay, cell shading.
You're basically just exploring this world, and it's not really a game either. It's just exploring the world.
It's also in beta. They're gonna have more stuff, but
Yeah. But I really like that. It
was fun.
had pretty good atmosphere.
Yeah.
That's what I liked about it. What else was there? Really?
Another thing the CAs did is like at the end of the week after the conference closed down, they have a post-mortem where all the CAs who haven't flown out already just show up and they essentially give out prizes and stuff. And basically every CA gets some sort of prize. Like me, I got a video game, but that was kind of like a low end on the prizes, so you can get all sorts of awesome stuff there. And you talk about like what the conference did right, what it did wrong, you know.
Oh, did anyone play the Joust game?
I did, because the CAs had a copy of it like the entire week, and that game is so much fun. I was so good at it.
Which game is this?
It's a game.
Johann Sebastian Joust. or
Yeah,
Joust.
you play it with PlayStation Move controllers.
Yeah.
And you play it in person. It's not on a screen. You basically, the goal is to knock the thing out of the other person's hand, or at least to
It's
move
to
it.
vibrate it.
Yeah, it's
just
like
to-
it's very fragile, so you can't move it very fast,
right.
and it can't accelerate too much. But the goal is to basically accelerate the other person's controller past the tipping point.
Mhm.
And apparently, it was so fun that it got a lot of awards.
Mhm.
It got nominated for a lot of awards.
Yeah.
Did it win any?
Yeah, it won the most innovative GDC awards. So, and I think
I
it
think
won
that was the
something
FDF
at
award.
No, it won something at GDC.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it also won some. I think it won something at.
I'm gonna check the program.
Yeah, it won
Well,
like
I don't
most
remember any of
innovation
the-
or something. They're the ones who did like I'm gonna teach you a party game in a minute, and it was slap
Yeah,
poker.
it did win the GDC award.
Yeah. It's like, all right, I'm gonna teach you guys a party game or a super fun party game that you can
Oh
play.
yeah,
with
that.
women. It's called
Basically-
slap poker. Everyone gets a card, and you put it on your head, and you can't see your card, but you can see everyone else's. What you have to do is figure out who has the highest card and slap them in the face. It might be you, in which case you just slap yourself in the face. And then you keep playing until you're super drunk or to like 10 points or something, whatever. It was an awesome.
Yeah,
Those guys are crazy.
We saw there was like two guys who tried to slapping each other and they both fell down. That was funny. There was a lot of Mega 64 videos.
Yeah, those were fun.
They were fun, but
Warren Spector.
the parody of the indie game the movie trailer, that was probably my favorite one.
Yeah,
I tried looking for it and I couldn't find it. Like they didn't upload it yet,
yeah.
or no one ripped it from the live stream yet.
Yeah. Well, you guys can actually look up the live stream of GDC and I think IGF, just like on Google. They already have that out.
Yeah.
It was a fun show. So.
Like I told a lot of people that I really didn't, like I watched the awards a few years ago and I never liked them. Like they're just a bad show. Like something, like, I don't know, it came off as kind of childish. Like they had this comedian hosting it and the jokes that he would give weren't very funny and they were kind of dirty. I'm like, what is this? Is it the Game Developers Choice Awards or what? Or some,
Was it Jamie Cannon?
I don't know. but this year it was pretty good. Maybe because I was actually there. I don't know.
It was so fun being
It was
there.
just,
Yeah.
it was much higher quality. Like I saw some of the older ones and this one was just better.
Yeah. It still had a couple of problems with it.
Yeah.
It could be. It's good.
I think Skyrim won Game of the Year, Portal won everything else. But
Undeserved. Portal 2, not as good as the first one.
Still better than most of them.
Yeah.
No, I actually just played that too.
Well, I haven't played Portal
I'd say
yet.
it's weak.
Portal 2
but
it.
that's-
I'm waiting for it to go on sale again.
Do you want to talk about IGF right now today?
Yeah, what time is it? Oh, we need to, before I forget, we're gonna have a game night on Friday.
This Friday?
This Friday. Because we haven't had one since forever.
This
Yeah.
Friday.
We haven't had one since the second week of school.
That's forever ago.
Yes.
What?
So how do you guys like do transportation between your hotel and the GDC?
We just walked.
There are a ton of hotels all around there.
Yeah.
It's really not too hard to find one that's
Yeah.
it's really close.
I mean, don't book your hotel like the day before GDC, and you'll be okay. Yeah.
Yeah. How long did we book it? Like,
Mine, I had it like several
February?
months in advance.
Yeah, it was a month, a couple
Yeah.
months.
a couple of weeks.
As soon as they accepted me into the CA program, I was like, yeah.
Did you like scream when you saw the mail?
Yeah, I was happy. I didn't know how
I don't
awesome
think
it would
he's the
be when I
screaming
got
type.
You didn't
excited.
even know how. You
Yeah, I
knew it
didn't
was
even
awesome.
know how awesome it was, but like, yeah, it's
awesome.
really awesome. What else?
It's about 6. Do we?
Yeah.
I gotta run. So.
What do you guys want for food for game night?
Subway works.
That's how you feel that.
So before we leave, we. So, how did you want to present it? Basically we
Yes.
want to. Fine, I'll start.
No, go. Yeah, I'll go off.
While we were at the award show, we decided to make a game for the IGF next year.
Sweet.
And so we need people to join our team.
Wait, do what?
We're gonna do the
Independent Games Festival. We're
Yeah.
gonna make a game
Yes.
for it and submit it.
Be our own studio. That'd be-
Yeah,
that
and
sounds
if
awesome.
we get nominated, there are like 500 submissions this year. They get bigger every year, so it'll be even harder to get it next year. But there are also there's like a single student award, so that drops our like peers to like 200. So if we get nominated, you get a
Yeah.
free all access pass or 2 all access passes for the whole team. Plus, you get to sit in like the fancy part of the awards place
Yeah.
where like Todd Howard is sitting and like all these really awesome people sit. And there's alcohol there too. So
we saw Notch sitting there.
yeah, we
Yeah,
did.
I got
Oh, we also saw him at the food court.
How many
of the-
people
of the
are
mall.
there?
What?
However many, it doesn't matter.
Really? So if you.
Yeah.
200 people. Okay.
Yeah, they don't.
They won't. They only give you 2 all access passes, and then like 5
You'll
extra.
have to share them or like
Yes.
pass it around.
Or buy more.
Pass it
Sorry.
around.
We'll go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt again, but Google Summer Code sponsors organizations were announced 2 days ago. The application period starts in 7 days, so anyone interested in getting paid $5,000 over the summer to work on an open source project, Apple, by Google, paid by Google, should probably look into that. Say hi. Don't be discouraged.
That should be our motto.
So we'll send out more information about it. But if you're interested, definitely start thinking about it. It's gonna be a 7-month commitment from now
Yeah.
until the deadline is October.
The deadline is
mid-October.
Halloween.
It's it may have been last.
I think it's Halloween.
Yeah, it's October sometime. It's mid to late October. So we'll be working on it from now until then. It'll require
Sacrifice.
a lot of work, definitely dedication. But it'll be super fun and incredibly rewarding. Even if we don't win, I talked to like 30 recruiters while I was there, and even for production, which isn't development, every single one of them emphasized over and over again how important it was to have worked on a project and possibly shipped a game outside of class and on the side, just to show that you're passionate and show that you know what you're doing and that you know how to do all of this, know what it takes. So it'll be a great resume experience, and you'll learn a lot, and it'll be super incredible.
And it's just adventurous.
So you get a start now.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
We're in the recruiting phase now.
How do we sign up?
Contact us.
Yeah, we'll
You just
email out
contacted
with
us
more
right now by talking
information.
to us.
Yeah, yeah, we'll send out email with more information and have it all like on paper so that you know what's going on.
Yeah.
And
wondering if we should get like an email or a website.
Should we set
Yeah.
up like a base camp kind of?
Base camp?
It's just really cool, like project managing web website.
Oh, I can do it.
Never heard of it.
I've heard
Yeah,
of
it's
it
really
too.
cool.
So right now we have 2 team members, producer and game designer and or programmer. So what we really want is someone who can do art and or music or sound effects. Yeah.
I can do it.
Yeah, we could probably use a few more programmers, depending on the kind of game that we're gonna make.
Yeah, do you know what it's gonna be?
No.
No idea
That's
whatsoever.
gonna depend on our team.
And that was what we really wanted to do. We want to leave as much of it as open as possible so
Yeah.
that part of the experience is coming up with the ideas, designing, working in a team to sort
Because
of.
this really is a team project. We're not adding people to work for us. We're adding people to work with us. And if someone's on a team, they will basically have equal ownership of the game. So that's the kind of experience that we're trying to create with this. Yeah.
What if you want to like learn production as well as some room for like a co-producer?
No. Unless we have like 20 people, maybe. But
Yeah.
no.
Assistant to the region.
Yes. If you can do other things, I mean,
You
you're
can
more than
critique
welcome
us from afar.
Done.
Just send us weekly emails or something. What were you gonna say?
How much programming experience would you need?
I'm not sure.
We don't. I mean,
I would prefer working with someone who's either taken or is taking right now 335 in the CS department, object-oriented programming, because that class just teaches you how to program in really big projects and also with people, and that's a core skill.
I mean, we definitely want it to be a learning experience, so we don't. Not
Yeah.
everyone needs to be perfect and like a master of their craft, because who is anyway? But we also don't necessarily have a lot of time to spend teaching and catching people up.
Yeah, and or at least I have really high standards with teammates. So
But feel free to, I don't know, contact us, send us more information. We'll probably maybe be taking samples of work and stuff just to look at it. We don't really want to make it super formal, but just to sort of give us an idea of where we are and what we need.
yes, to make sure we're not adding someone to the team who's unreliable, because that might just kill the project if we have unreliable teammates.
But yeah, I mean, we also really want to emphasize that it's going to be a commitment. It's going to be outside of school time. It's going to be, we haven't quite worked out how often the meetings will be, but there will be roughly weekly meetings and stuff. So I mean, it's going to be super fun, but it's also going to be work.
Yes,
So be prepared.
super fun work.
Yeah, both. So we should have that.
Yeah, I want to go to the ACM.
Yeah, that's it.
It's 5 minutes back. Okay.
If I have the listserv tonight.
Okay. Yeah. Wait, I can add it right now.
Oh, awesome.
Or well, no, it's really. So the listserv is done with the university, and the page that the university gives me to edit the listserv is horrible. So I'm not gonna do it. I'm just gonna write it up right now. So, or so write down your email. Okay. That's a swipe in case you know how to do it.
Yeah, I have, but I don't think we get mine. Maybe I don't know if we get that.
Oh yeah. It would work with the email that I told you.
Where are you going at 6?
The ACM meeting is downstairs at 7:01. It's the Association of Computing Machinery. It's basically a giant national computer science thing, organization. And the local chapter is down there. It's kind of like the IEEE, but for computer science.
Is it okay if I give you my Gmail?
Yeah, that's okay. Thank you.
Sweet.
Have a good day.
So,
Yeah, we should do anything else.
yeah, okay.
Okay.
We also need to figure out how we're gonna start contacting people and maybe getting the word out. Like maybe if we're
Yeah.
gonna, I'm not sure what would be the best way.
I think listservs are good.
I kind of feel like we need a website, or some web page
Yeah.
that people can go to that has all the information.
Yeah.
Maybe a little essay about what we're looking for. Probably won't be a good idea.
We don't an essay, but yeah,
Just bullet
information.
points.
Yeah, bullet points.
Yeah.
Break it down. Yeah, I can draft something up for that if you want and send it to you. You can approve it.
Maybe we could post it on the club website.
Okay.
Or we could post it on
Wherever you feel best about posting.
I'm not sure. It'll probably be best on the club website because then maybe I could give you editing powers.
Okay.
Just give me your Google account
Yeah.
and maybe that could work.
Yeah. Is that the microphone?
It is. We have